Welcome to Brier's Music Showcase. I'm Bryer and welcome back to another video. And in this one, we are doing episode 7 of my CD collection series. I honestly thought I'd be done by now, but apparently not. But I digress. So in this episode, I'm only going to be talking about CDs in this shelf I bought maybe a year or two ago. And even though this looks like the end, we are not there yet, because you can kind of see on the side here, there's still some CDs here. And yeah, we'll talk about these on episode 8. But as you can see, I try to utilize all the space I could on this shelf. So it starts here, we go across like so. Then once we get to the bottom, which you can't really see, but there's 4 levels, we're going to come up and kind of work down on these right here. Now, last thing I should mention, this used to have a 5th level, but I accidentally broke it because something that was up there fell on it, and yeah, it kind of broke the first layer. So I think I took photos of it, so maybe if I remember, I'll put photos of the aftermath of it. But yeah, that happened. Alright, so before I begin, if you are enjoying this series, please give it a like, subscribe if you are new, and of course comment below what is some of your favorites that you saw in this particular episode. And without further ado, let's get started. So like I said, we're going to start right here. So we're going to continue where we left off with the Rolling Stones. We still have a few to get through. So first up, we have Goat's Head Soup. Very good album. It's gonna be kind of annoying to deal with this. It's not the most ideal, but again, it's fine for now. Anyhow, next up we have It's Only Rock and Roll, but I like it. Okay, next we have Black and Blue. Again, this is pretty divisive among Rolling Stones fans. I do think there are still some pretty decent songs on this. Is it one of their best? No. Some Girls. Here, I'm going to do this so it's less annoying and a little bit easier to get them out. I'll put these on the bottom for now, or down here for now. Alright. Okay, where are we at? So now we're at my last Rolling Stones album. We have Tattoo You. Right, continuing on with the R's, we have some Rush. And I have every Rush studio album, so we're gonna go through these really quick. And I do have a ranking video on Rush, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet. I'll probably leave a link in the description if you haven't seen it. But anyhow, so first up we have the debut, solid debut, Fly By Night, Caress of Steel. Very underrated in my opinion. 2112. Farewell to Kings. Hemispheres. Permanent Waves. Yeah. Moving Pictures. Signals. Grace Under Pressure. Power windows. Hold your fire. Presto. Okay, put this, here we go. There we go. Sometimes they can be difficult putting back. Roll the bones. Counterparts. Test for echo. Vapor trails, and this is the remixed version. Snakes and arrows. And then finally we have Clockwork Angels. Alright, so now we are officially done with the R's, so now we're going to move on to the S's. So let me just adjust myself, and then we'll keep on moving. Alright, first up for S. Here is a metal band. I'm not sure how many people know of them, but I actually quite like this one. So the band's called Sanctuary, and this is their, I think this is their first album, Refuge Denied. Very good album. Produced by Dave Mustaine of Megadeth, by the way. Then we have a couple Santana. So here is the debut. Okay, and then we have a Brexis. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but it's the second album, I think. All right, so now we're moving to the second layer. So now let me go ahead. I'm gonna put these back now. Just adjust one thing though. Be with you in 1 sec. So just gonna put those back. And then put these back. Go, and then let me just take these out for now. Okay, still in Santana, and my last Santana, we have Supernatural. Of course, has Smooth on it with Rob Thomas. Here's another metal band, and my only one from this particular band. We have Sabotage with Hall of the Mountain King. Really great album. Okay, another metal band. This is part of the British new wave of British heavy metal. We have a couple Saxon. Again, I have one other that's probably up there, but actually I got two up there, but we'll talk about them later. So here is one of them. Here is Power and the Glory. Scorpions up next. Here we have Virgin Killer. Really good album. Terrible cover though. Then we have Taken by Force. Blackout. And here is Love at First Sting. Okay, here's the only studio album of the Sex Pistols, never mind the Bollocks. Jane Siberry, The Walking. Canadian artist, by the way. Some Paul Simon. I only have two from his solo career. We have Graceland, of course. Then we have The Rhythm of the Saints. Pretty good follow-up. I was actually kind of surprised when I first heard it. All right, of course, talking about Paul Simon, of course we got to talk about some Simon and Garfunkel. Here's their debut, Wednesday morning, 3 a.m. Sounds of Silence. Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. Bookends. And then we have Bridge Over Troubled Water. All right, still in S's. We have a ton of S. Here is Skid Row. Okay, not too bad. It's okay. Then we have some more thrash metal. We have some Slayer, and it's the only Slayer album I own at the moment. We have Rain and Blood. Heavy album. Not for the faint of heart. Okay, we have some Smashing Pumpkins. I only have 2. Here is Siamese Dream. And here is the monster of all double albums. We have Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Almost 2 hours, but very good. Then we have the Smiths, The Queen is Dead. It's okay. Hasn't really clicked with me as of now. Okay, here's a jazz fusion band, and the only one I have of this band. We have Third by Soft Machine. Third as in it's their 3rd album. Okay, my only Soundgarden album, we have what's this one called? Super Unknown. Okay, we have a few Sparks albums. Here is Kimono My House. Propaganda. Indiscreet. And to close out this row, we have one of their latest albums. This came out in 2017, I believe. This is called Hippopotamus. Definitely want to get more Sparks in the future. Definitely a very interesting band. All right, now we're at the 3rd layer. Yeah, you can still see it. Okay, next. Yep. I always look forward to people's reactions when I show some of these. But next up, we got Britney Spears. This is called Baby One More Time. Yeah, I do like a bit of Britney Spears. No shame. And then the last one I own of hers is Oops, I Did It Again. Okay. Now we have Spooky Tooth with their 2nd album, I think, Spooky 2. Very great, very blues heavy, hard rock, pretty good stuff. And then we have a few Bruce Springsteen albums. Again, and I've said it before for those who aren't aware, I'm not the hugest Bruce Springsteen fan, but I've slowly started coming around. I still wouldn't say he's my all-time favorite artist of all time, but he's made some good songs. And the first up is probably my favorite of his albums, is Born to Run. Then we have Darkness on the Edge of Town. Then we have The River. Then we have Born in the USA. Okay, Billy Squier. This one is called Don't Say No. Then Chris Squire, not related. Of course, Chris Squire from Yes. This is his solo album, Fish Out of Water. Fantastic album. Then we have Ringo Starr with his album. Pretty good, very enjoyable. You know, again, Ringo's solo career is nothing like, it's no John or Paul, but you know, it's just feel good music basically. Okay, then we have this greatest hits from Starship or Jefferson Starship. I don't know, it's confusing, but yeah. All right, now we have some Steely Dan. I have all the studio albums by them. Okay, we have Can't Buy a Thrill, Countdown to Ecstasy, Pretzel Logic, Katie Lied, The Royal Scam, Asia, Gaucho, Two Against Nature, and finally we have Everything Must Go. Alright, Rod Stewart's up next. Okay, we have Every Picture Tells a Story, Night on the Town, okay, and the last Rod Stewart is Vagabond Heart. Alright, to close this row off, we have Sting. Here his, I think this is his second solo album. Here is Nothing Like the Sun. Okay, now let's slide these back in. Okay, then we have another row. Okay, still continuing on Sting's solo work, we have The Soul Cages, Mercury Falling, The Summoner's Tales, and then we have Stryper, Christian metal. Even if you're not Christian, I think you can still dig them. Great guitar riffs, great vocals as well. Here is Soldiers Under Command, To Hell with the Devil, and then we have In God We Trust. All right. Moving on to some Styx. Love Styx, one of the great American bands in my opinion. Okay, so first up we have this kind of compilation. This is the complete Wooden Nickel recording. So this has their first 4 albums on 2 CDs. This is probably probably the easiest way to get their early albums because I think their second album is you can pretty much find, but the other 3, like their debut, The Serpent is Rising, and Man of Miracles, are a little bit harder to find on CD. But yeah, this is probably an easy way to get them. So I would recommend this if you're having trouble getting those first 4 albums by the band. But yeah, very good. But this is kind of where Styx started to find their stride. First, of course, we have Equinox, Sweet Madam Blues on that album. Then we have the first album with Tommy Shaw. Here we have Crystal Ball. Love that cover. And then they really hit the mark with The Grand Illusion. And then they followed up really great with Pieces of 8. Then we have Cornerstone. Started going a more commercial sound, which I still quite enjoy. Then we have Paradise Theater, which is a concept album. Pretty good. Then probably the most controversial of their albums. Well, by controversial, I mean like it's kind of polarizing, but we have Kilroy is here. Kilroy was here. And most people don't like it. I actually kind of like it. It's not too bad. Is it their best? No. But there's some decent songs, I think. You know, stuff like, I have a soft spot for Mr. Roboto, so I don't mind that song. I do like Cold War. You know, Don't Let It End is a ballad. I'm a sucker for ballads, so that doesn't bother me. Heavy Metal Poisoning, Double Life, Haven't We Been Here Before? So yeah, I think it's not too bad. Okay, and then I have this 90s album. We have Edge of the Century. This does not have Tommy Shaw on here. It's okay, but yeah, you can tell Tommy Shaw's kind of missed here. I do plan to own every Styx album, but yeah, not in a huge rush. Then here's a greatest hits I've had for quite a while before I bought their albums. So here it is, and I've said these before in a previous episode, but these 20th Century Masters are decent. So if you see this and you need greatest hits, you know, why not? It's not the worst greatest hits out there. Okay, we're nearly done with this. Here's some Donna Summer. Good old disco. Okay, here's a more modern pop album. This is a duo called Superfruit. And if you're not aware of them, you might be aware of Pentatonics, who are an a cappella group. And these two are part of that group. So they decided to make a solo. The two decided to make a solo album, basically, and this is it. And you know, it's not a cappella; it's your typical pop music, but I kind of liked it. Some good vocals on that. Okay, then we have some Supertramp. Here, of course, is Crime of the Century, which I do have a vinyl copy of. Even in the Quietest Moments. Breakfast in America. Again, I own a vinyl on this. And then, we still have a couple more S's. The Supremes, we have this gold collection, and this is a really good one. This has 2 discs and has a ton of songs. There's 40 songs on here, so this is pretty good. And then the final S in this section, we have Taylor Swift. Yep, I have one. This is Midnight's. This one came out last year, I think. You know, I've heard many people say, oh, it's just mid. But as a Taylor Swift newbie, I kind of liked it. Again, no shame. Alright, we are officially done with the S's. Now we move on to T, and I'm very looking forward to talk about this one because this is a J-pop or Japanese pop artist, and love her to death. So we have Maria Takeyoshi. So I almost have all her albums. I think I need 3 more. So first up, we have her debut, which is called Beginnings. Solid debut. Still kind of finding her sound. Then we have University Street, which is a concept album about, you know, university, because I think she was just leaving university by the time this came out. So yeah, it's pretty much on her mind, but very good album. I think this is definitely a big step up from the debut. Then we have Love Songs, a solid album, but not as immediate as the last one. Okay, so we're done with that row. Let me put these away back in their place, and now we can finally move up to here. All right, so Next up, we have Miss M. Terrific album. What's notable about this album is that half of this was produced in Los Angeles, and some very notable musicians play on this album. People like, Steve Lukather, Jeff Porcaro, David Foster. I mean, it's basically. I mentioned Lukather and Porcaro, so this is pretty much a Toto. This is the closest Toto's ever gotten to doing like some J-pop or whatever. So yeah, they did a lot, and this is a really good album. So many great songs. Yeah, we'll put them down here for now. Okay, next up we have Portrait, another solid album, and of course we have the big album for her. We have Variety. Of course, has Plastic Love on it, which is kind of her most well-known song, at least here in the States, but only if you're cultured enough. Anyhow, moving on. Next up, we have Request. Then we have Quiet Life, one of her. I think this is a '90s album. Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I forget when this came out, but another really strong album. And yeah, that was the last Maria Takeuchi album I have. So again, I need 3 more to complete her catalog. Ranking video coming soon. I don't care if it doesn't get views. Okay. Tears for Fears up next. Here we have The Hurting, their debut. Then we have the big one, Songs from the Big Chair. Then we have their follow-up, The Seeds of Love. Solid follow-up. Then here we have James Taylor, Sweet Baby James. Pretty good. Okay, I'm just gonna put it here for now. I'll fix them later, but we gotta keep moving because we're almost done with this episode. The Temptations, here we have a little greatest hits. Only 10 songs. It's fine. It's enough to get you started. Thin Lizzy. Here we have Fighting. Jailbreak. And my personal favorite as of right now, Johnny the Fox. Okay, we have a couple Tool. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan, but I do kind of like them. Here we have Undertow. I think this one's pronounced Enema. Then we have possibly my favorite. We have Lateralis. And I spoke of Toto a little bit ago, but here they are. Here we have the debut, of course. And then we have Toto 4. Okay. Done with these. Now we move down here. I have one Pete Townsend solo album. Of course, Pete Townsend of The Who. This one is called Empty Glass. Here we have Traffic. Steve Winwood's on this, and yeah, sounds very good. My Only Tragically Hip album, of course, pretty well-loved band in Canada. Traveling Wilburys, Volume 1. Randy Travis, who is a pretty well-known country artist. Yeah, I do like a little bit of Randy Travis. Okay, then the Tubes with their debut. Pretty interesting. They're not quite punk, kind of more art rock. So now we're done with the T's. Now we're on to U. And we have U2. Here's War. Let's put this back in. We have the Unforgettable Fire. And we have pretty much their magnum opus, if you want to say. We have the Joshua Tree. Uktung Baby. Okay, then we move on to UFO. Great hard rock, sort of heavy metal, not quite. They're definitely more hard rock, but of course we have Phenomenon, the first with Michael Schenker on guitar. I'm not sure if I should censor this, but this one's called Force It, because get it, there's faucets everywhere. Okay, then we have Obsession. Alright, then we have some Uriah Heep. Here is their debut, very heavy, very humble. You know, people say Uriah Heep's like the poor man's Deep Purple, but shut up. Okay, next up we have their second album, Salisbury. Look at Yourself. It looks weird, but this is originally supposed to be a mirror in the center, but obviously you can't really do that on a CD, unfortunately. Okay, Demons and Wizards. They're probably the most well-known album. Very good. The Magician's Birthday. Then we have the live album, Uriah Heep Live. Then we have Sweet Freedom. Abominog, one of their 80s albums. Really wild cover. And then last Uriah Heep album, and this closes out the U's, we have their latest album, Chaos in Color. The only one I have with Bernie Shaw on lead vocals, and very solid stuff. Okay, put these back in here for now. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good for now. Okay, moving on to V. Of course, Van Halen with the debut. Then we have the second album, Van Halen 2. Women and Children First. Next up, we have Fair Warning, 1984. And I do own a couple of the Sammy's era. Here we have 5150. Then we have OU812. Clever. Okay, almost done. Okay, next up, we're actually going to close out with some soundtracks, and I think we're going to get through all the soundtracks in this video. So basically, the reason why they're in the V section is because, you know, various artists, if that's what you want to call them. So yeah, I don't know what to do with my soundtracks, honestly. But I put them in V for various artists, because that's what soundtracks are basically are, just a bunch of different artists together. All right, so we're gonna go through them very quickly here, and then we'll close out this episode. And they're not in any order, but first there's a couple. There's like 2 more Van Halen before we go. We have For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and then we have this Volume 1 Greatest Hits. Okay, got those 2 out of the way. Now let's get to the soundtracks. Don't own that many, but here we have the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. Brother Bear, of course, done by Phil Collins, and other Tina Turner's on this as well. Rest in peace to her. Okay, we have another Disney film. We have Hercules. Top Gun. Then we have the soundtrack to The Woman in Red, of course, with Stevie Wonder and Dionne Warwick. Of course, this has I Just Called to Say I Love You, my grandma's favorite song. Okay, I already showed those off. Okay, last stack. Okay, we have the movie soundtrack, The Jesus Christ Superstar, of course, from the film from 1973. Of course, we have Grease. Rest in peace to Olivia Newton-John. Then we have The Lion King, of course. Tarzan. Then we have Footloose. Then we have another animated film. This is a DreamWorks animated film, but really good one. We have Elton John's The Road to El Dorado. Of course, Randy Newman's also featured on this. And the final CD to close out this episode. What a perfect album or soundtrack to close out this episode with, of course, Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Of course, from Thomas's big theatrical debut. Of course, didn't do well in the box office at all, but you know, I still have a bit of nostalgia for it, so yeah, I got it. And that is it. So that is episode 7. Of course, there's still a lot more to cover, as you can see next to me. So we'll cover those in part 8, and then we still have part 9 to deal with. So we're almost there. Again, we still got this is pretty much the final stretch before we get to the end. So thank you very much for watching this. If you enjoyed this, then please give it a like. Subscribe if you're new. Like I said in the beginning, comment below what was some of your favorites you saw in this episode. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye for now.